So I'm here to give a little bit of kudos to the macro people, but also maybe a little bit of a slap on the wrist at the same time. So there's people out there that are promoting that the most important thing that you need to do is eat the right types of foods. And I think they can technically be right, but again, not practically. I think I've said this before. I think depending on the lens you look at, it will depend on how right that statement is. And they say that it's more important that what you eat because of a few things. And they get it right in the sense that certain types of food, certain type of macronutrients specifically, have a higher thermal effect, which means they burn a little bit more energy, actually kind of rev your metabolism a little bit more than others. And that's why maybe they promote protein, right? Satiety, they talk about keeping you feeling that you're full or satisfied. And they tend to find that fats and protein do it a little bit better than carbohydrates. They're right in terms of water retention. Sometimes if you cut out the carbohydrates, your body holds on to less water because carbs are hydrophilic, which means that it attaches onto water. And sometimes when you want to fill out a bodybuilder, you actually try to increase their carbs closer to the end of their cut to make them look a little bit more pumped. That's an aside. But they get that right in the sense that it has an influence, right? And also the hunger signals. They find that the things that influence satiety and hunger signals like ghrelin and the like is that some foods have a little bit more of an effect. Again, processed foods being detrimental to that, whereas some of the things like protein and fats have a little bit better support in terms of your signaling. Now, where do they get wrong? They talk about influencing your hormones, and for the most part, we don't have that large of an influence on our hormones. We do have some. We can't say we don't have any, but it's very hard to have a direct influence unless we're having a very long-term, specific approach to changing your hormones. And that's something that's left for your doctor. For most people, you're going to be fine. It's not really a matter of the macronutrients. And I think along the lines of saying the macronutrient is the most important, they lose sight of the number one rule, that calories are king. They say whether you gain, lose, or maintain your current weight, whether that's fat, muscle, whatever it is, the amount of calories, the calorie balance is the number one most important thing. Making the macronutrients, the types of things you're having, number two, because the amount is still important. You can't have endless amount of fat and decide that your body's not going to gain any fat because of it. That's not because your body gains fat because you eat fat. It's because there's extra calories compared to what you're burning, and it has to do something with it. And what does it do? Because it's the smartest thing. It opens a savings account, and it saves the fat on your body. And of course, importance. They make a really big stink about the importance, and it's not that important in the end. When we look at all the studies, calories are most important. And then I think if we match for protein, secondarily, it doesn't even matter how much carbs versus fats you're having. It's actually most important to just focus on calorie balance and protein. All right, so they say it doesn't matter how much you eat, it's what you eat. They're wrong in that sense because, yes, we can pick certain types of foods that make it easier for us to succeed. We've talked about processed versus non-processed, like whole foods, all that. There are things that will help to make the how easier, but it's plain as day. You need to be in a calorie deficit, and you can try to change the macronutrients all you want. The only way you get into a calorie deficit is if you decrease the amounts sufficiently that we get into a calorie deficit. So they got some things right, but they also got some things wrong.